the very invaluable role they play. For example, it will even be good, for example, in this bill, if we begin to look at the role of, those women that choose to be full-time housewives, and they provide very robust service to the family unit. How are they going to be compensated for providing us with very good children that becomes future leaders and are making very strong mark in this country?
Senator, the thing here...
I want to say that there are different ways we can enrich this debate.
I'm excited you said that there are different ways which this debate can be more robust in the Senate. Would you agree that it wasn't handled that way? Because listening to you, from your perspective, it would mean that there are some sections, just the way the sponsor of the bill did say, that required some little bit of tweaking. And if that is what it is, aren't there ways by which they can address that instead of what we saw on television, as if the entire bill was garbage?
Yeah, you see, when a bill is rejected, it doesn't mean that it is garbage. It only means that that bill still has more work to be done by the promoters. And I think it's important that we accept this particular process, because there is so much to be done in the Senate. And we have made it very clear that it will not be good we allow a bill that has very contentious and controversial issues to go forward, because at the end of the day we may miss the essence of the bill. And so rather than allow this to get to the end, and then at the end of the day we end up having it thrown up, we are saying that, look, let's terminate this process now. Let the promoters go back and engage more stakeholders in terms of enriching the provisions. You see, the fundamental principle is not the issue. We are not against the fundamental principle. But what we have seen is there are provisions that, if you take it in a much more wider perspective, I think it touches on a number of sensitivities, like I said earlier. And this is not the time for us to promote, defining of such kind of sensitivities. What we want to do now is to bring our energies together on the positive.
How did we get here? Because one wonders...
senators of the Federal Republic, we have a responsibility to ensure that happens.
I thought within the committee level, some of these would have been raised in that level, so that by the time they come in to the Senate proper, they would have been able to touch on those very sensitive issues. Did that go through all of that? Because this bill is not new. It's been coming even in as far back to 2011, I guess.
Well, I wasn't there in 2011, but the fact still remains that, you see, if truly it was there in 2011, then it means the way the bill was handled this time around was not very thorough. Reason being that if you knew this bill was not accepted the last time, you should have looked at the basic reasons and engage various stakeholders that have concerns with these particular provisions, so that at the end of the day you remove those particular provisions that will prevent this bill from getting the kind of approval it should. You see, we have learned a lot from what has happened in the past. Take example the PIB. I think that is why this time around we said, look, we're bringing the PIB, taking out the controversial segments. And I think the reality is that, you see, when somebody does not understand certain things, the tendency is for the real issues in that thing to suffer, and I think we're trying to avoid that. And like I said, we want to introduce efficiency, We want to make sure that when we do anything and it gets to that particular long haul, I think it should just be something that we know Nigerians will be happy that it is actually, approved. So I understand the sensitivity of these issues, and I want to tell you that, my colleagues and all of us in the Senate are aware of this, and we will definitely, urge, like the promoter of the bill has said, that they are going to really look at all those controversial issues that have been raised, and let them do more justice. In fact, at the end of the day, there may even be more provisions, given a lot of things that are happening now, so that we can even enrich the various provisions that are being made.
Well, Senator,
and there is nobody who is averse to, the girl-child education. There is nobody who is averse to the health of the girl-child or the women, or even the issue of providing opportunity for them to participate in the political space.
Well, Senator, that's what you say. If I may come in here, if you can hear me very clearly, that's what you may say, and your tone has been sounding very conciliatory, all morning. But that wasn't the impression that came off the floor of the Senate yesterday when that matter was debated. As my colleagues have pointed out, I mean, it wasn't even, this is supposed to be the first reading. It was not even taken to a second reading. It was quashed, outrightly quashed, over certain provisions which some people said, or some senators said,
this is the second reading.
In contrast to the Constitution of Nigeria, which you also pointed out, frowns against discrimination.
Yeah. Well, the first reading of any bill is just the title. Now, when the second reading comes in, that is what you saw yesterday. The promoter debates and provide basis for the various provisions within the bill, and the bill is also provided to members to look at the various clauses and to see if this bill goes to committee level, if it will receive the kind of support that by the time the committee finishes its work and brings it back to chamber, it will also be approved. So what we did yesterday was second reading. The committee was brought for second reading, and that is the stage at which it failed.
Senator, would you say, just a moment,
it does not mean rejection.
Would you say, in fairness, that the Senate, in terms of its handling of women affairs, I mean, so far so good, issues that concern women through every Senate have been, uphill, and a very, very big uphill task, it would seem, to get anything through on that particular regard? Would you say that the Senate, this particular assembly, in fact, the 8th Assembly, would you say they've been fair on women issues?
Well, I want to tell you that we've been very fair on women issues. If you check the legislative agenda of the 8th Senate, we have made it very clear that we are going to promote empowerment of women, and we are going to support the girl-child education. And I want to make it very clear here that if you even look at the various laws that we have, we are of the opinion that even the aspect of business, the aspect of the economy, and even the issue of political participation, I don't think we have done anything to show our adversity for that. But Maokwe, let me make it clear here that the primary purpose of government is security and welfare of our citizens. And it is our duty to make sure that everything we do, we promote that in its minutest form. And I want to make it very clear also that we are not averse to this particular bill. That we have, we have not approved its second reading yesterday does not mean that we have rejected the entire idea. It's just a process, and the promoter of that bill has already told you, even in the clips you have shown here, that they are going back to the drawing board. And I think that is the way to go. And I want to assure you that by the time she addressed, in partnership or in consultation with other stakeholders, those key controversial issues